This is SPY on the 5-minute time frame. I'm going to go over price targets for Friday. We ended the day at $412.55, down just over 1%. The 52-week low, 368.79. The 52-week high, $459.44. Taking a look at the performance for the month, we are down nearly 4%. But for the year to date, we are up more than 7%. This is where we ended. To the north side from where we are takes us to resistance and a possible take profit area, 413.78. Above that, at another level of resistance, 417.25, 418.94, and should we be so lucky to get to 4 standard deviations, that would take us to 420.68. There's a gap that forms to the upside at 421.89, closes out at 423.51. There are 2 other gaps to the north side, and that one closes out at roughly 434.77, and this one closes out at roughly 438.45. We are not in that channel. We are not in that zone. Just something to be aware of should we go back up and fill those gaps. Now to the south side. And this line is -2 standard deviations and a level of support. And if we hit this, I will anticipate a bounce as people buy the dip. 410.46, 408.69, and at -4 standard deviations and another level of support, 406.98. Obviously, a lot of levels in between as well. And taking a look left here, this gap closed to the downside at roughly 420.72. This one closed to the downside at 431.67. And as you can see here, the bounce at support, and on the way up, this turns into resistance. So then you'll see a stock possibly going sideways, and then it made it to this line. This line from there, it went up. This turns into resistance as well. We busted through and then made it to the middle of the trend. And from down here, this turns into resistance as well. And then it could not sustain. Price fell back down to support and then bounced back up again to resistance, or thereabouts, close enough, and then starts to fall down, fills this gap. And then up here, your clear sell signal. This is a potential sell area, a buy area, and many opportunities to get in and out on the day. The RSI is turning down at 33. On the daily, we are touching 30 there. And I will anticipate a bounce because this is the oversold area. Note, whenever we get to the overbought area, price cannot stay in this area without falling down. Oops. But anyway, when we get up there, I will anticipate it to go down because that's just how patterns work. Goes up, goes down, goes back up, goes down, goes sideways. Many opportunities to get in and out using the RSI. Now, for the weekly, we are also turning down. Not quite oversold just yet, but notice we cannot stay in this level without hitting down here to go back up again. And on the monthly, we are turning down at 50. And on the daily time frame, -3 standard deviations would take us to roughly 403.04. If we hit this line, I will definitely anticipate a bounce. And back at -2 standard deviations takes us to roughly 417.53. And if we go up from down here, this will turn into resistance. So I will anticipate going sideways or possibly grinding along before price either goes back up or falls back down to support again. The next stock I want to go over is Amazon. If you hit Option R on the Mac, it will reset this. All right. Amazon reported better than expected earnings. Revenue jumps today a little over 13%. Now, the 52-week low is 81.43. The 52-week high is 145.86. Under the performance for the week, we are down more than 8%, and year to date, nearly 40% up. And under the technicals, it's considered a sell. The 1-year price target is 172.87, which represents a 44% increase from where we are. So to the north side, 121.99. Oh, by the way, we are up for the day though, more than 4%. All right. At 2 standard deviations, again, 122.01. Another level of resistance again, 123.56. 125.16. A gap forms to the upside at 126.36, closes out at 128.39, and 131.95. That gap closes out at roughly 135.26. There's a tiny gap above that closes out at 139.42. We are not in the channel yet to get up to this area. We're going to be whipped around all over the place. Many opportunities for day trading, swing trading, getting in and getting out. Look for opportunities with gaps, perhaps, if you have not tried that before. But I like to look for gaps down here and then ride my way back up for a swing trade. Looking left, I talked about price when it was at 125.17 the last time on the 21st. This is a clear support zone. What happens at support? People buy in, the stock bounces up, hit resistance, and then went sideways down, back up again, down, support, back up to resistance. This gap closed to the downside at 128.27, and I've tracked this many times. All right, let me give you some levels to the downside from where we are. Back to support here, 118.88, 115.73, 114.12 roughly, and 112.58. The RSI is turning up. And obviously many levels, like I said, in between here. You can turn on VWAP. Whoops. I have too many. I can't. Oh, I have to remove this. I only pay for 5 indicators. I don't think it's helpful sometimes to look at so many different things because it just gets overwhelming. Just keep it simple, but if you wanted to, here is a VWAP. All right, so if you're playing in with VWAP to the north side, takes us to 120.36, to the south side, roughly 119, very close to here. So that's just another indicator that might help you. But I take that off. I don't want to play so aggressively. I like to let my price breathe a little bit and do that. And another thing that obviously you can do is turn on the bot. That will give you buy and sell signals. Notice the bounce at support here, where I would play, and then the bot tells you as well. I would sell here, the bot tells you to sell. You don't need the bot, you don't need those things to tell you what to do. I mean, it's just fun to see it, but if you don't pay for more than, a couple, 5 indicators, and you like to use other indicators, it's not necessary. Because if you know how to read the linear, that's what you're doing, and the bot's doing that as well. So I'm going to remove that. Okay, and what else is there to look at with Amazon? I guess let me pull this to the daily. All right, I do have, when I look at the big picture, there's a gap to the south side. We are not there. It may take a very long time to fill, or it could go very quickly. It just depends on the market. But we are in an overall downtrend with the market. But on the daily, you can see the uptrend with Amazon. This looks good. But overall, I'm saying the market is down. All right, this gap starts at 108.20, fills at roughly 106.69. And to the south side on the daily could take us to 98.57. And then back at the middle of the trend would take us to roughly 128.46. That's a range within this zone. Now I'm going to bring this back to the 5-minute time frame, and I'm going to look at Tesla again. My dad is in this right now. He's got some puts, I believe, and would like to get out soon. So let me review this. I have Tesla for a long-term hold, but I have traded this for my sister before. All right, we are at 205.76. All right, 205.76 to the north side from where we are on the 5-minute time frame takes us back to the middle of the trend and resistance. If we get to this line, I will anticipate going sideways or going down a little bit as we are at resistance, and people will take their profits possibly at this area, 209.32. Above that, at 2 standard deviations, takes us to 215.65, 218.68, 221.89. To the south side, this is 203.17. I will anticipate a bounce at support, 199.96 and 196.89. Now, Murat says that he sees a lot of volume between 170 and 160. So if I turn on my volume profile under the indicator, visible range volume profile, you can't see it yet here because we are talking in this range. But if I flip this over to the daily, there we go. This is the range that he is talking about. A lot of moves in this range. So just keep that on your radar. And that means there's a gap that I have tracked that takes us down to 193.42. And if this volume indicator plays out, we could be even going down further. And there's a gap I see here that I need to extend. That would take us to 146.42. I will be scooping up Tesla at 142 if we get there for my long-term account. All right, so if you zoom out to the daily, the weekly, and the monthly, look for those gaps and be aware of them, because that is a potential to buy in to the south side or go short. Let me take this back to the 5-minute. I always do that. Now, there are some gaps to the upside. I keep having to extend this one because it has not filled. We are not in that zone yet. We need to get through this area and then up through this area and then several more days or weeks before we get to this area if we even go up. All right, so that gap starts at roughly 230.43, closes out at roughly 242.57 or 69, something around there. All right, and then that was the previous price target. This gap closed out at 246.99. This one at 216.30. Oh, let me extend this gap to the south side. I showed it to you on the daily, but I need to. Okay, this one just closed out on Monday. And let me remove the volume profile. Actually, I shouldn't even be on here. Oh, wait. My other standard deviation disappeared on me. I like TradingView, but I have a lot of problems with it. A lot of things disappear on me. All right, this is a good place for me to end it. Again, that was a look. That was a look at SPY, Amazon, and Tesla. If there is a stock that you would like me to go over, please let me know. Thanks for watching.